Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well. Online students, you are also very welcome. If I am audible, please let me know. Good afternoon, Ria. Thank you. Right. So we covered the handout number 2 up to question 170. Continuing from 171 onwards. कोई doubts तो नहीं है regarding any previous questions? It reads, his principal forte was social and religious reform. He relied upon legislation to do away with social ills and work unceasingly for the eradication of child marriage and the Parda system. To encourage consideration of social problems on a national scale, he inaugurated the Indian National Social Conference, which for many years met for its annual session alongside the Indian National Congress. Which is this referring to? Who is this referring to? M.G. Rana Day. M.G. Rana Day laid the foundation of the Indian National Social Conference in 1887. So this was the first time that this conference met. Where? थर्ड सेशन कहाँ पे हो रहा था? मद्रास में. ठीक है, तो in Madras. Was the Indian Social Conference a part of the Congress or was it a separate sister institution? It was a separate sister institution. And why was this? Because many within the Congress felt that the Congress should be focused only and only upon political advocacy, political reform, right? For social agenda, social issues, separate platform is necessary. However, the two functioned co-jointly, and it was him that through the Indian Social Conference started the pledge movement against which social evil? Against child marriage. ठीक है, right. Moving to question 172. The founders of the Paramhansa Mandali founded in Maharashtra believed in which one of the following? Social distancing along caste lines, glorification of the caste system, forbidding widow remarriage, or one God in breaking caste rules. Online students, you can also comment. Right. So answer is D. Who were the founders of the Paramhansa Mandali? Durga Ram Mehta ji and Dadoba Pandurang. Initially, it was forced to operate as a secret society. Why? Because what was its message? Breaking of caste rules, and the traditional elite of the Maharashtra region were not in favor of this. Okay? That is why initially it operated as a secret society. Next question 173. Swami Dayanand Saraswati, number 1, opposed was opposed to worship of idols of gods and goddesses. Yes or no? Yes, this is correct. So he opposed the system of idol worship. Second, he regarded the Vedas as infallible. Correct or incorrect? Correct. So he was the one who gave the slogan, go back to the Vedas. He firmly believed in the perfection of the Vedic knowledge and logic. Number three, he had met and had discussions with Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. This is also correct. So who had gone to meet whom? Had Vidyasagar gone to meet Swami Vivekanand? Oh, sorry, Swami Dayanand, or was it the other way around? Other way around. So Swami Dayanand Saraswati was traveling across the country to popularize the Arya Samaj and its method of going back to the Vedas. So it was on his travels that he traveled to Bengal also and happened to meet Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Vidyasagar was quite deeply impressed by his thoughts and wrote extensively in simple Sanskrit about Vedanta as well. Okay? So which of these statements is correct? All. A. 1, 2 and 3. 174. Exposure to Western ideas in the 19th century India generated a reaction from Indians. Which of the following correctly describes such a reaction? A. Revulsion against Hindu religion and culture. B. Accepting the best of the East and the West. And C. Emergence of Neo-Hinduism. Or D. All of the above. All of the above, right? So contact with the West elicited a wide spectrum of reactions from the Indians. Revulsion against Hindu religion and culture as manifested in which movement? Young Bengal movement. Accepting the best of the East and the West? Vivekanand Swami or Raja Ram Mohan Roy? And emergence of Neo-Hinduism to address the challenge of the West? Arya Samaj movement. Okay? So all three are correct. Next one, number 175. Consider the following pairs and identify the correct ones. Book and the name of the author. Tuhfatul Muwahidin, Precepts of Jesus, Miratul Akbar, Sayyid Ahmad Khan, Annie Besant, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. How many pairs are correctly matched? Only one. Which one? Third one. Why are the other two incorrect? Because all these works are attributed to Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So, answer is A. Miratul Akbar was not a book, it was a newspaper. Started by him from Calcutta. In which language? फारसी में अखबार बेचेंगे कोई पढ़ेगा? नहीं पढ़ेगा, right? So that is why it was in Urdu. ठीक है? He did write a book in Persian. Tuhfatul Muwahidin, the gift to monotheists. Number 176. Consider the following statements about Raja Ram Mohan Roy and identify the incorrect ones. Number 1. He believed in ushering modernity in India through modern education. Yes. Number 2. He condemned and rejected the supremacy of the Vedas. No. While he suggested that Vedic knowledge should be mixed with logical interpretation, he never condemned the Vedic supremacy. This is incorrect. And third, his campaigns were supported by Christian missionaries. No. By and large, they were not. Especially the Catholic Christian missionaries were bitterly opposed to him because of which book that he had published? The precepts of Jesus, which had attacked or which had challenged the Catholic ideas. Which of these are incorrect? C. 2 and 3 only. Question 177. Assertion and reason. Assertion. Christian missionaries supported the activities of the Brahmo Samaj. No. Correct answer क्या होगा? C. A is false but R is true. देख लेते हैं reason भी. Brahmo Samaj incorporated some of the teachings of Christianity to reform Hinduism. Yes, this element became prominent during the acharyaship of which leader, which thinker? Keshav Chandra Sen, primarily Keshav Chandra Sen. So this is most closely associated with Keshav Chandra Sen. ठीक है? Now, question 178. Match the movement and the leader. ब्रह्मो सभा, साधारण ब्रह्मो समाज, ब्रह्मो समाज ऑफ इंडिया, आदि ब्रह्मो समाज. तो ब्रह्मो सभा किसने एस्टैब्लिश किया? राजा राम मोहन रॉय. A3. साधारण ब्रह्मो समाज, आनंद मोहन बोस एंड अलोंग विद हिम, इनके साथ हमेशा एक और नाम आता है ना, सुरेंद्रनाथ बैनर्जी. ठीक है. ब्रह्मो समाज ऑफ इंडिया, केशव चंद्र सेन, एंड आदि ब्रह्मो समाज, देवेंद्रनाथ टैगोर. Answer is 3, 4, 1, 2. So during the 19th century there were several schisms which took place within the Brahmo Samaj. Idea है ना कब हुआ, क्यों हुआ, कौन किसके किसके बीच में मतभेद चल रहा था? Or do you want me to elaborate? नहीं? चलिए. Number 179. Consider the following statements about the Brahmo Samaj of India and identify the correct ones. 1. It was founded as Brahmo Sabha by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. This is correct. So, although Brahmo Samaj of India was an offshoot of the Brahmo Samaj, which was itself founded by the founded as the Brahmo Sabha, this statement is correct क्योंकि एक ही organization का descendant है Brahmo Samaj of India. Secondly, it was largely confined to Bengal. No, from the name itself it should be clear that it had an all India presence. So this is incorrect. So which one is the correct one? A, one only. 180. Assertion. Activities of Raja Ram Mohan Roy did not have nationalist undertones. Correct or incorrect? Did they have nationalist undertones or not? They did. So a statement correct, incorrect? Incorrect. On what basis can we make the claim that his activities had nationalist undertones? So he raised not only political issues but also did some political advocacy as well, right? Such as asking for things like the representation of Indians in the British Parliament, Indianization of the civil services, separation of powers, reduction of land revenue, abolition of zamindari. These were the political demands raised by him. Although he did not conduct organized politics along this agenda, but he anticipated the demands of the first phase of Congress nationalists. ये demands किसकी demands आगे जाके बनी? Moderates की बनी. So will it be correct to say that his works had nationalist undertones or not? Yes. Further, even if you look at his social reform agenda, उनका हमेशा objective क्या होता था? To divide or to unite? To unite. So in a sense, he was creating the social and cultural base for the future Indian nation. So first statement is incorrect. Reason: revolt of 1857 did not receive the support from educated intelligentsia. Is this statement correct or not? This is correct. Is this associated in any way with the first statement? No. So correct answer C. A is false but R is true. Next. Question 181. He became Acharya at Brahmo Samaj in 1858. He was instrumental in popularizing the Brahmo Samaj movement outside Bengal. He preached radical ideas for social reforms like openly supporting intercaste marriages, and he got his daughter married to the minor Hindu Raja of Coach Bihar, केशव चंद्र सेन. केवल एक ही हो सकता है. ठीक है, आंसर इज सी. 182. Consider the following statements. Ramakrishna's main emphasis remained on religious salvation rather than social salvation. This is correct. So while his disciple Swami Vivekanand preferred social salvation over religious salvation, इनका ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या था? Religious salvation over social salvation. Secondly, Ramakrishna Mutt was set up by Swami Vivekanand to carry on preaching of Ramakrishna's work and do charitable works. This is incorrect. Ramakrishna Mutt itself was set up by Ramakrishna Paramhans. It was the Ramakrishna mission that was later set up at that same Ramakrishna Mutt in Belur, Calcutta by Swami Vivekanand, not to preach the message of Ramakrishna primarily, but to prepare a corps of volunteers to provide social service. तो स्वामी विवेकानंद का आइडियल क्या था कर्मा का? That if you want to attain true salvation, you need to serve God. And what is the greatest service to God? Service to mankind. उनका maxim क्या था? यत्र जीव तत्र शिव. ठीक है, so the second statement is incorrect. Which of these are true? One only. Now match the following: Reform Movement and founder, Servants of India Society, M.G. Ranade, Social Service League, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Pledge Movement, N.M. Joshi. इसमें से करेक्ट मैच करना है. सर्वेंट्स ऑफ इंडिया सोसाइटी, गोपाल कृष्ण गोखले. सोशल सर्विस लीग, एमजी रानाडे, सॉरी एनएम जोशी. एंड प्लेज मूवमेंट, एमजी रानाडे. 2, 3, 1. बी. Consider the following statements. Number 1. The Factories Act of 1881 was passed with a view to fix wages of industrial workers and allow the workers to form trade unions. No. So this was the initial factory regulation introduced in India. Its demands and objectives were very limited. Kya? To control the conditions of child labor and prevent their exploitation and employment in hazardous conditions. That is it. So this is not one of them. N.M. Lokhande was a pioneer in organizing the labor movement in British India. This is true. तो जैसे सती के पीछे मेजर क्रूसेड राजा राम मोहन रॉय ने लीड किया था, चाइल्ड लेबर के अगेंस्ट एंड ट्रेड यूनियनिज्म के टुवर्ड्स, it was N.M. Lokhande who had led the crusade. So which of these are correct? B, 2 only. The first Factory Act restricting the working hours of women and children and authorizing local government to make necessary rules was adopted during whose time? Ripon. 1880 to 84. एक्ट आया है 81 में. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट 186. मूवमेंट एंड फाउंडर, we have to match them. Young Bengal movement, Paramhansa Mandali, Theosophical Society. Young Bengal movement founded by Derozio. Paramhansa Mandali by दुर्गाराम मेहता जी. दूसरा नाम क्या था? दादोबा पांडुरंग. Theosophical Society, Madam Blavatsky. 2, 3, 1. B. Next question. Consider the following statements. Bharat Dharm Mahamandal was established by Radhakant Dev to propagate Sanatan Dharma. No. Bharat Dharm Mahamandal was established by Pandit Deen Dayal Sharma to propagate Sanatan Dharma. Radhakant Dev was a contemporary of Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Debendranath Tagore. Okay? So it was against the Brahmo Samaj that he had set up what? The Dharma Sabha. In order to protect traditional beliefs and institutions. Okay? Number 2, Sharda Sadan was established by Sarojini Naidu. कौन था इसके पीछे? Pandita Ramabai. And Annie Besant founded the Theosophical Society. Also incorrect. So which of these are not true? All are not true. ठीक है? तो ये है Sharda Sadan by Pandita Ramabai, Annie Besant by Blavatsky and Alcott. Next, number 188. In the context of 19th and 20th century socio-religious awakening in India, consider the following statements. Assertion: the Muslim reform movement started later than the Hindu reform movements. Yes, true. Reason: Islam was relatively freer from social evils and superstitions as compared to Hinduism. Incorrect. So correct answer क्या हो गया? C is true but R is false. So why was it that the Muslim reform movements began later than Hindu reform movements? Yeah, so Muslims were latecomers to Western education. Hindus had adopted modern Western education earlier. Thus, the appetite for social reform emerged earlier among Hindus. That is the correct reason. क्या? अभी तक दिक्कत होती है ये पता करने में कि क्या बेसिस होना चाहिए. अब now the Supreme Court of India and the Constitution have created a yardstick to measure backwardness on social and educational scale. ठीक है? However, it is left up to the state to decide that what is the exact parameter. So in India, unfortunately, what has happened is that this has resulted in an irrational system of affirmative action, wherein the affirmative benefits that were meant to accrue to members of a depressed community are appropriated by a small elite within that community, leaving the rest of the community in their old status quo. Okay? Now, one of the solutions may be, I'm going to make a very unpopular statement, that a socio-economic caste census may be conducted. So, if there is requirement for further rationalization of appropriate of the this thing affirmative action, that could be made. But why the issue of socio-economic and caste census has become politicized is because that may also become the basis for the further expansion of the quota system, right, which many people in India are against. And further, there is मतलब reservation या फिर affirmative action, what is the logic behind it? So that those sections of the population which have faced historical injustices, due to which they are starting the race towards development from further back, may be brought to the same starting point as the other more privileged communities. But what this quota system ends up doing now, it creates a perception that those who are receiving the benefits of it, they are not succeeding because of their own merit, rather it is because of this affirmative action. सो वो मेरिट वर्सेस राइट का इशू बन जाता है, या फिर मेरिट वर्सेस बेनिफिट या मेरिट वर्सेस अनफेयरनेस का इशू बन जाता है, एंड इट क्रिएट्स अ वेरी बैड टेस्ट इन द माउथ ऑफ एवरीबडी. India is still a country with a growing population and limited resources. We are still in our nascent stage of development. अभी बहुत आगे जाना है, and therefore competition for resources is very high, and that is why it becomes a very emotional issue. लोग अपने आप को घासलेट डाल के आग तक लगा लेते हैं इस इशू के ऊपर. हो भी चुका है in Indian history, right? Now that is why nobody wants to touch this issue with a 10-foot pole, but someday or the other somebody will have to bite the bullet, right? Now further discussion जब आपका pre clear हो जाएगा, means की बारी आएगी. Now coming back, question 189, consider the following statements. Assertion: Wahhabi movement was a reformist movement. No, it could be best described as a revivalist movement or puritanical movement. Reason: it aimed at purifying Islam from all un-Islamic practices that had crept into Muslim society through the ages. This is true, but it is not the correct reason for A, which is wrong. So correct answer is D. A is false, but R is true. Question 190. Which of the following factors which of the following factors were the factors behind the caste movements in 19th and 20th century in India? Spread of Western education? Yes. Extension of the railway network? Yes. How did it lead to the beginning of caste movements? It created a shared public space. To enter the railway compartment आपको अपना caste certificate दिखाने की जरूरत नहीं है. All you need is a railway ticket, valid ticket, right? Growth of modern political ideas of equality and democracy? Also correct. And the work of Christian missionaries? Also correct. Most suitable example? Jyotiba Phule, Mahatma Phule, right? So he himself grew up with Christian missionaries, received education from them. The correct answer is D. 191. Which of the following best describes the aim of Satyashodhak Samaj established by Jyotiba Phule in 1873? To fight for the cause of women's education in India. Did Jyotiba Phule support the cause of women's education? Yes. Was it the reason he founded the Satyashodhak Samaj? No. तो ये नहीं होना चाहिए. To fight against social malpractices like sati and encourage widow remarriage? Did he oppose sati and promote widow remarriage? Yes. He also started a school for widows and a shelter for widows. But did he start the Satyashodhak Samaj for addressing the issue of sati and widows? No. C. To attain equal rights for people of lower castes? Yes, this is the most appropriate one. And to promote Western education among the lower caste people? He also worked for that, but that was not the reason why he established the Satyashodhak Samaj. So this is incorrect. A book titled Gulamgiri, Slavery appeared in 1873, which highlighted the historical roots of Shudra slavery and compared it with the slavery of the blacks in America. Who wrote it? Jyotiba Phule. D. Consider the following statements in context of the Justice Party established in 1916. It was pioneered by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. No. Who were the founders? हाँ, तो टी नटेसा मुडलियार, सीपी अय्यर एटसेट्रा, ठीक है, तो वो लोग थे इसके पीछे. It claimed to represent the interests of non-Brahmins, particularly in the Bombay Presidency. This is incorrect. It should have been Madras Presidency. And later on, did it seek to represent the interests of only the elite non-Brahmins such as Reddis, Kammas, etc., or did it also seek to create a coalition of the non-Brahmin elites, depressed classes, Christians, Anglo-Indians and Muslims as well? कोएलिशन बाद में बन जाएगा, ठीक है। तो which of these statements is not correct? Both 1 and 2. Question 194. Which of the following correctly describes the objective of the Guruvayur Satyagraha that took place in 1931? क्या है? टेम्पल एंट्री मूवमेंट था, ठीक है। तो इट वाज अ टेम्पल एंट्री मूवमेंट फॉर दी एडावा कम्युनिटी, ठीक है। तो दिस वाज अ कम्युनिटी दैट वाज कंसिडर्ड अनटचेबल and was prevented from entering temples, visiting public spaces, drinking from the temple well, or using the road that ran adjacent to the temple. So Guruvayur Satyagraha was launched by the Dalit leaders of the Madras Presidency for allowing the Adavas to enter the temples, ठीक है। prominent leader कौन कौन थे इसमें? E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar, he was the most prominent leader. E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar, founder of the self-respect movement. ठीक है, तो करेक्ट आंसर इज सी। मैच करना है लिस्ट 1 विद लिस्ट 2। सर्वेंट्स ऑफ इंडिया सोसाइटी, तत्वबोधनी सभा, आत्मीय सभा, देवेंद्रनाथ टैगोर, गोपाल कृष्ण गोखले, राम मोहन रॉय एंड केशव चंद्र सेन। सर्वेंट्स ऑफ इंडिया सोसाइटी गोखले, तत्वबोधनी सभा देवेंद्रनाथ टैगोर, आत्मीय सभा राजा राम मोहन रॉय। 2, 1, 3। Atmiya Sabha established by Roy in 1814 with the objective of promoting monotheism, preaching monotheism, ठीक है। तो 1814 Calcutta monotheism। 196. Consider the following women's association and their important associates in the early 20th century. Women's Indian Association of 1917, National Council for of Women in 1925 in India in 1925, Bharat Stree Mahamandal of 1910, Margaret Cousins, Sarla Devi Chaudhrani, Lady Meherbai Tata। तो बताने how many of these pairs are correctly matched? Is the first one correctly matched? Yes. So in 1917, Margaret Cousins and Annie Besant founded the Women's Indian Association. Second one incorrect, third one incorrect। होना क्या चाहिए? स्वैप होना चाहिए, ठीक है। करेक्ट आंसर इज ए, 1 only। Moving along, question 197. Match the movement or organization and the objective. Ramakrishna Mutt, Ramakrishna Mission, Brahmo Samaj. Which one had the objective of purifying Hinduism to preach monotheism using the twin pillars of Vedas and the Upanishads? It was Brahmo Samaj. So C should be 1. Which one had the objective to bring into existence a band of monks dedicated to a life of renunciation and practical spirituality, from among whom teachers and workers would be sent out to spread the universal message of Vedant? मिशन या मठ? मठ, ठीक है। एंड मिशन का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या था? to prepare a corps of volunteers for philanthropic and charitable works. So this is 3. Correct answer is 2, 3, 1. कौन सा वाला? B. Question 198. Consider the following statements about Derozians, the reference of which can be found in history, and identify the correct ones. Number 1. It refers to the English educated radical youth from Madras. From Bengal. Specifically where in Bengal? Calcutta. Specifically where in Calcutta? Which college? The Hindu college at Calcutta. Number 2. They were attracted by the Western ideas, but they refused to break away from their own religion. No. Their contact with Western ideas and critical analysis of evils within Hinduism made them have a revulsion towards their own culture. So they made a sharp break with their own culture. This is also incorrect. Number 3, their emergence or origin can be traced to the Hindu college Calcutta. This is correct. So which of these is correct? B. 3 only. Number 199. Correct the following pairs and identify the incorrect ones. Brahmo Samaj, was it a revivalist movement? A reformist movement. Ramakrishna mission, was it a revivalist movement? It was a social service movement. This is also incorrect. Arya Samaj, was it a reformist movement? It was a revivalist movement. Deoband movement, was it a reformist movement? It was a revivalist movement. So which of these are incorrect? All 1, 2, 3 and 4. Number 200. Which of the following was not one of Raja Ram Mohan Roy's postulates for the regeneration of Indian society? A rational and scientific approach, principle of human dignity and social equality of all men and women, introduction of modern capitalism and industry in the country, or independence from foreign rule? Independence from foreign rule. While he did advocate for reforms within the colonial administration, he never advocated for independence from foreign rule. Rather, he considered he felt that India had benefited from its contact with the West, and that under colonial rule, India could transform from a medieval to a truly modern society. Correct answer iska D hoga. Right. Now, let us open the next handout. Handout number 3. Theme is going to be the freedom struggle, right? And beginning from question 201, we shall proceed. Question 201. Consider the following statements regarding the Regulating Act of 1773. Number 1. The Governor of Bengal was now designated as Governor General of Bengal. Yes. Number 2. It provided for the strict separation of powers. There was no separation of powers. In fact, the Governor General in Council exercised supervisory control over all affairs, administrative, legislative, financial, political, everything, commercial also. This is incorrect. Number 3, a Supreme Court was to be established at Calcutta based on the Indian legal system. No, this is also incorrect. While a Supreme Court was to be established under this act, it was not to follow the Indian legal system. It was to apply English jurisprudence, Anglican system of law. Okay? Why? Because its jurisdiction was over Europeans in India. Okay? Number 4, British officials would not fall under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Also incorrect. So this is exactly whom the Supreme Court was introduced to administer justice over. So which of these statements is, how many of these statements is correct? Only one, A. Okay? Next, question 202. Consider the following statements about the Charter Act of 1813. Number 1. It ended the trade monopoly of the East India Company in India except for trade in tea and trade with China. This is correct. Number 2. It asserted the sovereignty of the British Crown over the Indian territories held by the company. This was done by 1833 Act. So this is incorrect. Number 3. 1833 में बोला गया that the company is holding all its territories in India on behalf of the British Crown. And number 3, revenues of India were now controlled by British Parliament. This is incorrect. So there was no such provision. So which of these statements is correct? Sorry, कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया है. Second statement, I may be making a mistake over here. I think this was correct. It was this act which had proclaimed that the company shall hold all its territories and possessions in India as a trustee of the British Crown. हाँ, इसी statement में बोला था. Correct answer is A, 1 and 2 only. Next, question 203. Which of these pairs are correctly matched? Charter Act 1833, Lord Bentinck. Yes or no? Yes. Act of 1858, Lord Dalhousie. Canning. Indian Councils Act 1909, Lord Morley. This is incorrect. Which है Governor General. It was Minto. Morley was Secretary of State. So answer is C, 1 only. Next question, number 204. Which of the following acts did transform the British East India Company into a purely political entity? Charter Act of 1833. So it ended the trade monopoly of the company entirely and transformed it into a purely political entity. The company's government of India would now be designated as the government of India officially. Okay? Next question 205. Which of the following statements is not correct about the Charter Act of 1833? A. The Governor General of Bengal became the Governor General of India. Yes or no? Yes. Macaulay was appointed as the 4th member of the Executive Council. Yes. As what? Law member. The post of Secretary of State for India was created. No. This happened in 1858. And British subjects were allowed to buy land and start plantation agriculture. This is correct. Following this, what happened? The first tea plantation, British tea plantation in India was established in Darjeeling in 1835. Next question. Which of the following statements are correct about the Secretary of State to India? Number 1, he was a cabinet minister of Her Majesty's government. Correct. So he was a minister of the cabinet rank. Sir Charles Wood was the first Secretary of State to India. This is incorrect. Answer is Lord Stanley. Now, Charles Wood was Secretary of State, was the President of the Board of Control till 1856, till Dalhousie's tenure. Dalhousie's tenure ended, a new government was set up in England under Palmerston. And under Palmerston क्या होता है इंडिया में 1857 में? Great Revolt of 1857. Great Revolt of 1850. अच्छा जब Palmerston बना था तो he had changed the president of the board of control. So Charles Wood had been replaced by Lord Stanley. It was in 1858 that the Act for Better Government of India 1858 was enacted, and Lord Stanley became the first Secretary of State for India. Lekin the very same year the government fell also. There would be a new Secretary of State. Second Secretary of State कौन हुआ? वही Sir Charles Wood. ठीक है. Number 3, it was a corporate body and capable of suing in India and England. This is correct. So it was a corporate body capable of suing and being sued both in India as well as in Britain. Legal person का इसको औहदा दिया गया था. And he was responsible for the crown to the crown only. No, he was responsible to Parliament, right? So this is incorrect. So which of these statements are correct? 1 and 3 only. B. 207. Which of the following acts stated that no Indian would be denied any post on the basis of caste, creed, race, place of birth? 1833. Why do you think this was? ये सब चेंज क्यों हो रहा है? पीएम आपको बताया था ना पीएमपी में that there were 3 phases of British colonialism in India: mercantile phase, industrial phase and financial phase. इन तीनों phases में ब्रिटिश की इकोनॉमिक प्रायोरिटीज चेंज हो रही हैं and as a reflection of the changing British economic priorities, their ideological policy towards India is also transforming. फर्स्ट फेज में कौन सा पॉलिसी फॉलो कर रहे थे ब्रिटिश? ओरिएंटलिज्म का. सेकंड फेज में लिबरलिज्म एंड यूटिलिटेरियनिज्म का. एंड थर्ड फेज में conservatism and racism ka, right? So it was part of their utilitarian/liberal agenda that this policy was introduced, that Indians should be treated as equals and that they should have an equal say in administration as well. Okay, so that all is going to start taking place. 208. Why was the Governor General of India called Viceroy after the Act of 1858? He was a representative of the British Crown. Answer is B. Now the same person who was Governor General of India was given the additional title of Viceroy. So Governor General now became Governor General and Viceroy. As Governor General, he was responsible for overseeing the administration of the Government of India, that is Government of British India. And as Viceroy, he was a representative of British Crown to other monarchs of India, the princely states of India. So as a direct representative, he was viceroyalty. So that is why Viceroy. Okay. Next, 209. Which one of the following acts of the British strengthened the Viceroy's authority over his executive council by substituting portfolio or departmental system for corporate functioning? It was 1861. Okay. The portfolio system of administration was introduced for the first time by Canning in 1857, following the end of the Great Revolt of 1857. था क्या ये? Portfolio system of administration. Division of government work is going to be done on individual basis of within the executive council. Each of the members is going to be given a particular charge. They are going to be put in charge of a particular aspect of administration. There would be a finance minister, a finance member, a military member, a law member, a judicial member, etc., etc. Okay. And how did this strengthen the control of the Viceroy over his executive council? Because since they have been given the responsibility, they are also now going to be answerable, right? If any mistakes happen, they are answerable. So correct answer is 1861. अब ये जो portfolio system of administration Canning ने 1857 में introduce किया था, this was affirmed by the Indian Councils Act of 1861. Next question, 210. Which of the following statement is or are not correct about the Council Act of 1861? Number 1. Administrative decentralization was followed by empowering the Bombay and Madras presidencies to make laws. Yes. So legislative powers which had been taken away from the presidencies of Madras and Bombay by which act? 33 Act were now restored to them, and this is reflected in the establishment of provincial legislative councils along with an imperial legislative council. Okay. Secondly, the executive members of the Viceroy's council were collectively responsible to the Viceroy. There was no question of collective responsibility, right? They were individually responsible. They served at the pleasure of the Viceroy. This is incorrect. Correct answer is A. Not correct. Okay. So answer is B. 2 only. 211. The Government of India Act of 1919 clearly defined A. The separation of power between the judiciary and the legislature, the jurisdiction of the central and provincial governments, the separation of the powers of the Secretary of State for India and the Viceroy, or none of the above. B. Jurisdiction of the central and provincial governments. And how did it do this? No. For the first time by creating two different lists of subjects. कौन से lists? No. Central and provincial list. ठीक है? So when it came to central subjects, only the central legislature will have the right to make laws and administer those subjects. When it came to provincial subjects, only the provincial government will have the right to make laws and administer those subjects. ठीक है? रेजिडुअरी पावर्स किसके हाथ में होंगी? मतलब जो लेजिस्लेचर है सेंट्रल लेजिस्लेचर और प्रेजाइडिंग ऑफिसर के पास भी नहीं, रादर एग्जीक्यूटिव हेड दैट इज वाइसरॉय के पास होगा वो पावर. ठीक है? तो गवर्नर जनरल वुड हैव द पावर. इट वाज within the subjects of provincial administration that further revision was done by this act. कौन सी लिस्ट बनी? Reserved and transferred. So the concept of legislative devolution was introduced for the first time by the Montford reforms, Government of India Act 1919. Legislative devolution का मतलब creating two separate lists for legislation by the central legislature and the provincial legislature. ठीक है? अच्छा, फेडरलिज्म फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम कब इमर्ज होता है? 35 एक्ट में. वहां पे क्या अरेंजमेंट था? इंस्टेड ऑफ टू लिस्ट देयर वर 3 लिस्ट्स. कौन कौन से? द फेडरल लिस्ट, स्टेट लिस्ट एंड द कॉन्करेंट लिस्ट. ठीक है? बट वंस अगेन ओवर देयर आल्सो द रेजिडुअरी पावर्स ले विद द गवर्नर जनरल ओनली. समझ में आया ना ये? हाँ जी. Because while it did introduce two separate lists and the element of federalism was introduced, the explicit provision for the creation of an all India federation came with the Government of India Act 1935. Further, in order for any system to be considered truly federal, what is going to happen when a dispute arises between the federating units? There should be a mechanism for that. तो पहली बार फेडरल कोर्ट का एस्टैब्लिशमेंट किसने सजेस्ट किया था? It was the 1935 Act. We can say that a step had been taken towards federalism, but federalism had not been introduced in a full-fledged manner by this act. ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे हम we go only to the extent of saying that legislative devolution was introduced. उसका next stage होगा total federalism, full federalism. Number 212. In the context of Indian history, the principle of Dyarchy refers to what? Division of central legislature into two. हाँ, D, division of subjects delegated to the provinces into two categories. कौन से दो two categories? Reserved and transferred categories. ठीक है. Introduction of double government, that is central and state governments. This is not correct. इसको बोलते हैं federalism, having two sets of rulers, one in London and other in Delhi. This is not the case. It is called imperialism. ठीक है. तो ये हो गया bicameralism. ये हो गया फेडरलिज्म एंड ये हो गया इंपीरियलिज्म. तो डायरकी हुआ डी. The Montague Chelmsford proposals were related to what? Constitutional reforms. इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस भी यूपीएससी पूछ चुका है. 214. In the Government of India Act 1919, the functions of provincial government were divided into reserved and transferred subjects. Which of the following were treated as reserved subjects? The administration of justice, local self-government, land revenue, and police. So, what is the logic that can be applied over here? जो essential subjects होंगे the British are going to keep in their hands. जो फालतू के subjects होंगे वो Indians को दे देंगे. ठीक है. इसमें सबसे फालतू का क्या लग रहा है? आज भी फालतू का होता है, right? That is local self government. This was in the transferred list. Rest 1, 3 and 4 were in the reserved list. ये मत करने लगना कि अब उठा करके 1919 एक्ट निकाला और सारे रटने के लिए बैठ गए हो. पागल हो जाओगे इस तरह से करोगे. ठीक है. 215. Which of the following statements is not correct about the Government of India Act of 1935? Princely states were also given representation in both houses of the central legislature. Privy Council was abolished. The financial powers were transferred from Britain to India, and Dyarchy was introduced in the center. First one, is it correct? Yes. So for the first time it provided that the princely state shall have representation in the central legislature. It provided for the establishment of a bicameral legislature at the center having two chambers. कौन से? The Federal Assembly and the House of the People, right? These princely states were to have representation in both of them. This is true. Third, financial powers were transferred from Britain to India. This is also correct. The long-standing demand of Indians to separate the expenses of the Secretary of State for India from the Indian budget had been accepted, and now full financial control of the government of India was in the hands of the British Governor General of India, and through a system of legislative manipulation, it was he who in an autocratic manner exercised complete control over India's finances. Dyarchy was introduced in the center. This is correct. 1935 Act provided for the abolition of Dyarchy in the provinces, but the failed principle of Dyarchy was now introduced at the center. तो गलत वाला क्या हुआ? Privy Council was abolished. What was the Privy Council? Yeah, Privy Council was a body created by the government to give pensions and patronage to whom? To the Indian princes, right? So the British are not going to abolish the Privy Council while they were still here. Rather, this is going to be abolished after independence. किसने abolish किया? इंदिरा गांधी ने. When? 1972 में. ठीक है. तो 1972 या 76 वो उतना देख लेना आप. ठीक है. बाकी कौन सा कब किया था. Next, 216. Through which of the following acts Burma was separated from India? 1935, right? One more crown colony was created by separation from India. आजकल बड़ा न्यूज में भी रहता है. रेड सी वाले रीजन में है। इजराइल नहीं, इजराइल वाज नेवर पार्ट ऑफ ब्रिटिश इंडिया। नहीं, मॉरिशस भी नहीं। अरे मॉरिशस कहाँ है और रेड सी कहाँ पर है? क्वेश्चन मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ कि इस समय जैसे बर्मा एक सेपरेट क्राउन कॉलोनी की तरह एस्टैब्लिश हुआ, थ्रू द सेम एक्ट अनदर क्राउन कॉलोनी हैड बीन क्रिएटेड by separating it from British India. This was located near the mouth of the Red Sea. It also featured in Almeida's blue water policy. Aden, ठीक है? तो Aden was also separated. 217. Which of the following is or are correctly matched? The name of the act and provisions. Government of India Act 1919, Federal Public Service Commission. This is correct. It provided for the establishment of a Federal Public Service Commission. It was finally established in 1926. The Government of India Act 1935, Chamber of Princes. This is false. Chamber of Princes pre-existed the 1935 Act. And number 3, Indian Council Act of 1909, bicameral system in the states. Also incorrect. Bicameralism at the state level was introduced by 1919 Act. ठीक है? तो करेक्ट आंसर हो जाएगा इसमें 1 only. Chamber of Princes was a body. It emerged as an influence group for the princes. ठीक है? So its chairman was, its ex officio chairman was the viceroy, but all the important princes of India, जो भी बड़ी छोटी रियासतों के मालिक हैं, they used to be represented in the Chamber of Princes. Now, while on the one hand, the Chamber of Princes sought to protect the interests of the princes from encroachment by the British government, on the other hand, it was also in competition against rising tide of nationalism, right? So I think ये Chamber of Princes formally constitute हुआ है sometime immediately after the स्वदेशी movement, क्योंकि उस समय पहली बार प्रिंसेस भी पॉलिटिकल मूवमेंट में पार्टिसिपेट करना शुरू हो गए थे या फिर पॉलिटिक्स में पार्टिसिपेट करना शुरू हुए थे. You remember Nawab Salimullah of Dhaka, Aga Khan, etc. They had raised the issue of not annulling the partition of Bengal. They were the ones who were behind the formation of the Indian Muslim League also. तो उस समय से the idea emerged that the princes can also petition the government to have their interest represented in Indian national politics. ठीक है? तो sometime immediately after the Swadeshi movement इसका creation होता है Chamber of Princes का. Number 218. The Act of 1835 was based on Simon Commission report, recommendations of the Round Table Conferences, the white paper published by the British government in 1933. Which one? Or report of Joint Select Committees? All of them. ठीक है? So Simon Commission submitted its report to the Parliament in 1929. It was felt that the Simon Commission had failed in its remit, and therefore a fresh round of talks had to be called. Therefore, a round table conference was convened. How many sittings? 3 sittings. So 1930 से 32 में, right? Based on the recommendations that the government gave to the Parliament, on the basis of the discussions that took place in the round table conference, a white paper was published in 1933. ठीक है? So this happened in 1933. Now, further, for the purpose of legislation, this white paper and the public response elicited into it, they were now sent for discussion by joint select committees of the British Parliament, right? And following its report, एक बिल ड्राफ्ट हुआ, उसको फिर पास किया ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट ने. तो करेक्ट आंसर इज ऑल ऑफ द अबव. 219. Which of the following statements about the Government of India Act 1935 is or are correct? It provided for 3 lists of subjects: federal, provincial and concurrent. Correct. Residual powers were vested in the British Parliament, vested in the Governor General of India. So, which is the correct one? A. In the federation established by the Government of India Act 1935, residuary powers were given to Governor General. 221. Consider the following statements. The Montagu-Chelmsford reforms of 1919 recommended granting voting rights to all women above the age of 21. False. Did it give voting rights to women? Yes, but to all women? No. Universal suffrage was not going to be introduced till after independence. Okay? So, while under pressure from the growing suffragette movement in India and abroad, in 1919 Act recommended that women should be given the right to vote. There was no question of universal suffrage for women. Okay? Number 2, the Government of India Act 1935 gave women reserved seats in the legislature. Yes, so separate electorates with reservation had been introduced for women. So, which of these are correct? B, 2 only. Now, some questions from journalism and literature. 222. Consider the following statements. The printing press was introduced by the British in India, Portuguese in India. Okay? The first newspaper to be published in India was the Bengal Gazette by James Hickey. Correct. First Indian owned newspaper, संवाद कौमुदी. वर्नाक्युलर में पब्लिश किया था किसमें? वर्नाक्युलर में अंग्रेजी कहाँ होगी? बंगाली में. ठीक है. 1818 I believe it was the first Indian language newspaper by an Indian. So this first one is correct. It started being published from 1780 onwards from Calcutta by James Augustus Hickey. Correct answer is B, 2 only. Number 223. Which Governor General introduced pre-censorship for the first time? Macaulay, Wellesley, Curzon or Lytton? Wellesley. What was the context? The growing threat of Napoleonic invasion. उससे इंडिया में प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए प्री सेंसरशिप ऑफ द प्रेस वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड बाय हिम फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम. Who among the following is known as liberator of the press in India? Metcalfe. Why? Because he had removed the hated licensing regulations that had been imposed on the press in 1823 by Amherst. Okay? In the context of the freedom struggle of India, which one of the following is known as the Gagging Act? Trade Disputes Act, Arms Act of 1878, Indian Treasure Trove Act or Vernacular Press Act? It is the Vernacular Press Act. What was it meant to gag? Vernacular press. ठीक है? 226. Which of the following correctly describes the aim of the Vernacular Press Act? C. To control vernacular press and effectively punish and repress seditious writing. The Governor General who repealed the Vernacular Press Act? Ripon. The Governor General who revived the worst features of the Vernacular Press Act? No. हाँ जी. रिपील किसने किया है? लिटन ने तो इंट्रोड्यूस किया था, उसको रिमूव रिपन ने किया. Who revived the worst features of the Vernacular Press Act? इस एक्ट के थ्रू किया था, तो बताओ कौन होगा? मिंटो, द सेकंड लॉर्ड मिंटो, ठीक है। Under which Governor General was Section 124A inserted into the Indian Penal Code, which equipped the government to detain and charge journalists for sedition? Section 124A of the IPC was introduced in 1870. कौन रहा होगा? The only Governor General to be successfully killed in India. Mayo, ठीक है, तो he was the one who had introduced it. तो अब जर्नलिस्ट को स्याही खरीदने पर, कलम खरीदने पर जेल हो सकती है कि सेडिशन करने जा रहा है. And who among the first was the first Indian journalist to be imprisoned? पढ़ लो पहले सारे ऑप्शंस. आंसर इज सुरेंद्रनाथ बैनर्जी for his writings against the policies of Governor General Lytton in his newspaper, the Bengali. हाँ, ये गया था सर्कुलर जेल, वहां पे कैदियों का हालचाल लेने के लिए, खैरियत पूछने. किसी ने इसी की खैरियत पूछ ली, ठीक है. तो देयर वाज सम अफगान प्रिजनर ओवर देयर हु किल्ड हिम विद ह्यूज नाइफ. पता नहीं कहाँ से उसको इतना बड़ा सा नाइफ मिल गया, बट मिला और खत्म वहीं पे सीधे, ठीक है. सच बता रहा हूँ, ऐसे गलत. दिल्ली में नहीं, सर्कुलर जेल में, अंडमान. How many of the following newspapers in India were founded by Bal Gangadhar Tilak? Answer is one only. कौन सा वाला उनका है? केसरी. Are you familiar with another newspaper of his? Maratha. So if you turn to the very last page of your notes ना, तो वहाँ पे एक list prepare किया हुआ है मैंने for this very purpose. मिला? तो एक बार उसको देख लेते हैं, then let us come back to these questions. So these are the names of the founders slash editors of certain newspapers which were popular during the national movement. तो ठीक है, उसके पहले से चल रहे थे न्यूज़पेपर्स, बट ये नेशनल मूवमेंट वाले कुछ न्यूज़पेपर्स हैं. द्विजेंद्रनाथ टैगोर का हिताब्दी, सुरेंद्रनाथ बैनर्जी का संजीवनी एंड बंगाली, शिशिर कुमार घोष का अमृत बाजार पत्रिका, एंड देयर वाज अनदर वन आनंद बाजार पत्रिका. Amrit Bazar Patrika was in Bengali, and in 1878 when the government came out with the Vernacular Press Act, it overnight became an English language newspaper. अब क्या नाम रखा उसका? आनंद बाजार पत्रिका. Then Gokhale also published slash edited two newspapers, Sudharak and Nation. G. Subramania Iyer very famously started publishing the Hindu. In which language? पक्का? पढ़ते नहीं हो क्या? तो पक्का फिर इंग्लिश में ही था. एंड स्वदेश मित्रन इन Tamil. Annie Besant's two newspapers were New India and the Commonweal. ये जो green वाले हैं ना, what is common among them and how are they different from the next set of newspapers? ये वाले moderates हैं, ठीक है. और येलो वाले एक्सट्रीमिस्ट्स हैं. अच्छा, इसमें आप एक और नाम लिख सकते हैं, इनफैक्ट दो नाम और लिख लीजिए. दादा भाई नारोजी, he used to publish a journal called the Voice of India, was later renamed simply to India. ठीक है. And Firoz Shah Mehta, he introduced a very famous newspaper in Bombay. क्या बोलते थे इसको? The Bombay Chronicle. He introduced sometime during the 1880s, immediately after the founding of the Congress. ठीक है. तो फिरोज शाह मेहता का Bombay Chronicle. Then coming to Bipin Chandrapal, who was a journalist by profession, he published several newspapers and edited more. Democrat, the Independent, New India Weekly and Vande Mataram were the names of his newspapers. Bal Gangadhar Tilak के दो newspapers, Kesari and Maratha. Maratha in which language? English. Kesari in Marathi. लाला लाजपत राय के भी कई न्यूज़पेपर्स थे. द पंजाबी, वंदे मातरम, द पीपल, आर्य गजेट एंड वेद रथ विशरद. अलग अलग है, ठीक है. तो दोनों के मतलब अभी आपको दो वंदे मातरम और देखने वाले हैं. एक अरविंदो घोष का वंदे मातरम है और एक मैडम भीकाजी कामा का वंदे मातरम है. ठीक है. एक बिपिन चंद्रपाल का है और एक लाला लाजपत राय का है. अरविंदो घोष, वंदे मातरम एंड धर्मा. These are the extremist publications. Then ये जो रेडिश ह्यू वाले हैं वो कौन से हैं? देख रहे हो, मॉडरेट्स में ग्रीन रंग, अंग्रेजों को कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. एक्सट्रीमिस्ट में येलो, यानी कि सावधान हो जाओ. और इनसे खतरा है. खतरा किससे है? रेवोल्यूशनरीज से. ठीक है. ब्रह्मबंधव उपाध्याय संध्या एंड भूपेंद्रनाथ दत्ता's युगांतर, दोनों कहां पर? Bengal. And they played a very important role in the promotion of or advocacy for revolutionary activities immediately after the end of the Swadeshi movement. एक और न्यूज़पेपर है revolutionary paper during this period, that was the काल. कहां पर? महाराष्ट्र. तो संध्या एंड युगांतर इन बंगाल, काल इन महाराष्ट्र. इनके जो ओनर स्लैश पब्लिशर है उनका नाम आपको एक बार चेक करना पड़ेगा. आई एम नॉट एबल टू रिकॉल. देन वी हैव कृष्ण कुमार वर्मा's इंडियन सोशियोलॉजिस्ट. कहां से ऑपरेट कर, कहां से पब्लिश होता था ये? लंदन. कृष्ण कुमार वर्मा इन लंदन हैड सेट अप द इंडियन होम रूल लीग सोसाइटी. ठीक है. मैडम बीकाजी कामा पब्लिश्ड वंदे मातरम फ्रॉम पेरिस. अजीत सिंह published the Bharat Mata from Lahore and Lala Hardayal published the Gadar from San Francisco. ठीक है. दो न्यूज़पेपर्स पब्लिश करते थे, both named Gadar, one in English and the other in Punjabi. दोनों ही गदर नाम के पेपर्स थे. Then we have some all India nationalist newspapers such as Mahatma Gandhi, who published the Indian Opinion, but this was not published in India. ये कहाँ का newspaper था? South Africa का. He also published and edited the Young India newspaper, the Navjeevan newspaper and the Harijan weekly magazine. ठीक है? मोतीलाल नेहरू का न्यूज़पेपर इंडिपेंडेंट एंड जवाहरलाल नेहरू का न्यूज़पेपर आजकल कटघरे में खड़ा हुआ है नेशनल हेरल्ड, राइट? सीआर दास पब्लिश दी फॉरवर्ड न्यूज़पेपर एंड जिन्ना का न्यूज़पेपर डॉन. दिस वाज द ऑफिशियल न्यूज़पेपर ऑफ द मुस्लिम लीग. आज भी ऑपरेट कर रहा है. इनफैक्ट इट इज द मोस्ट पॉपुलर एंड मोस्ट ट्रस्टेड न्यूज़पेपर इन इंग्लिश इन पाकिस्तान टुडे. ठीक है? So this was a brief overview of some of the nationalist newspapers. किस क्वेश्चन तक पहुंचे थे हम? 231 तक. हाँ, 231 हो गया. 232. Who founded the National Herald? Pandit Nehru, right? Next, how many of the pairs below are not correctly matched? Som Prakash, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Correct or incorrect? Correct. Independent, Jawaharlal Nehru. कौन पब्लिश करता था? मोतीलाल नेहरू. वंदे मातरम, मैडम भीका जी का, मैं भीका जी होना चाहिए था. दिस इज करेक्ट. अल हिलाल, मौलाना आजाद. दिस इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट. So how many are correctly matched? Are not correctly matched? One only. Which among the following newspapers is or are not correctly matched? Comrade by Muhammad Ali Johar. Correct. This was very popular during the Khilafat movement. Sudharak by G.G. Agarkar. This is also correct. Socialist by S.A. Dange. This is also correct. And New India by Mahatma Gandhi. Incorrect. ये किसका न्यूज़पेपर था? एनी बेसेंट का. महात्मा गांधी का क्या था? यंग इंडिया. Next, which of these following pairs are not correctly matched? संवाद कौमुदी राजा राम मोहन रॉय. Correct or incorrect? Correct. Young India Mahatma Gandhi. Yes or no? Yes. Indian Unrest S.A. Dange. Incorrect. किसका था ये? This was a book written by, yes, Valentine Chirol. And it was Chirol that was sued by which Indian leader? Tilak, for defamation, libel के लिए. Why? Because in his book Indian Unrest, what had Chirol labeled Tilak as? कि इसके पिताजी कौन है इंडियन अनरेस्ट के? इट इज तिलक. कॉल्ड तिलक द फादर ऑफ इंडियन अनरेस्ट. तो उन्हें केस लगा दिया था इनके ऊपर. एंड सत्यार्थ प्रकाश रिटन बाय दयानंद सरस्वती. दिस इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट. करेक्ट आंसर क्या हुआ? सी. नेक्स्ट, हु अमंग द फॉलोइंग स्टार्टेड द न्यूज़पेपर सोम प्रकाश? ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर. Which among the following books is / are written by Aurobindo Ghosh? The Life Divine, India for Indians, Savitri and New Lamps for the Old. So India for Indians was not written by him. तो इसके ऑथर कौन थे? एक बार देख के बताना. आई एम फॉरगेटिंग द नेम. इंडिया फॉर इंडियंस. नो, रेड्डी आर नॉन ब्राह्मण्स. हाँ, सी आर दास ने लिखा था ना. सी आर दास ने लिखा है. चितरंजन दास ने इंडिया फॉर इंडियंस. The other three, The Life Divine, Savitri and New Lamps for the Old were written by Arvind Ghosh. New lamps for the old while he was still active in politics or when he had retired from politics. New lamps for the old में इन्होंने क्या बोला है? Moderates को criticize किया है and he has given the theory of passive resistance against colonial rule. So would he have done this after retiring from politics or before retiring from politics? Before retiring from politics. ये 1893 में है. And the other books, The Life Divine and Savitri, these are literary compositions. These are epic poems. ठीक है, ये आदमी कविता फिलॉसफी ये सब कब करता है? रिटायरमेंट के पहले या बाद? After retirement, when he had retired from public life and he had opened his ashram. Next question, which of the following books was or were written by Bal Gangadhar Tilak? Gita Rahasya, Arctic Home of the Vedas and Tenets of the New Party. All of them. So Gita Rahasya mein he has talked about the idea of right and wrong, karma and duty. And in this context इन्होंने किसको dutiful ठहराया है? Resistance against British rule को. ठीक है. Arctic Home on the Vedas, this was due to his interest in the origin of the Aryans and his close personal relationship with Max Muller also. So he has given his views on the origin of the Aryans. And Tenets of the New Party, published in 1906 at the height of which movement? The Swadeshi movement, where he makes the case for Swaraj and passive resistance to attain Swaraj. So all three are correct, all of them. Which of the following was not written by Rabindranath Tagore? The Gardener, Chaturang, The Home and the World and The Mother. इसमें से बताओ. ये जो मदर है, it refers to a particular figure. मैं नाम बताता हूं उनका, आप बताओ कि उसके ऑथर कौन रहे होंगे. मीरा फालसा. She was the spiritual companion and was seen as his spiritual mother by a very prominent extremist leader who had taken retirement from public life, who had renounced public life, अरविंद घोष. ठीक है, तो ऑथर थे इसके अरविंद घोष. ठीक है. The other three are very famous compositions by Rabindranath Tagore. मीरा फालसा was the spiritual companion. मतलब जैसे नूरुद्दीन ऋषि एंड लालडेड, राइट? तो दे वर स्पिरिचुअल कंपेनियंस. वैसे ही मीरा फालसा एंड अरविंद, these were spiritual companions. So they were not only contemporaries, rather they added to each other's philosophical compositions. ये है. तो करेक्ट आंसर इज डी. Which of these pairs is/are not correctly merged? गुलामगिरी, ज्योतिबा फूले. करेक्ट और इनकरेक्ट? करेक्ट. हिंद स्वराज, महात्मा गांधी. करेक्ट. नील दर्पण, दीनबंधु मित्रा. ऑल्सो करेक्ट. तो इवन इफ यू डिड नॉट नो द एग्जैक्ट आंसर कि भवानी मंदिर एग्जैक्टली किसने लिखा हुआ, यू कुड स्टिल हैव आंसर्ड. ठीक है. The point I'm trying to make is, do not skip questions in a hurry. Read the question, try to understand it, and only then take a decision whether you want to attempt or not. If Barendra Kumar Ghosh is not the author of Bhavani Mandir, who is? इनके बड़े भैया जी कौन? अरविंद घोष. ठीक है. This is incorrect. It should be अरविंद घोष. Match these books with their authors. चार अध्याय, देवी चौधरानी, पाथर देवी, भारत दुर्दशा. चार अध्याय, चतुरंग, रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर। अच्छा, संस्कृति के 4 अध्याय किसने लिखा है? वेरी फेमस हिस्ट्री बुक रिटन बाय वेरी गिफ्टेड पोएट इन हिंदी, दिनकर, रामधारी सिंह दिनकर ने लिखा है, ठीक है। अच्छा, देवी चौधरानी, अ वेरी फेमस नॉवल रिटन बाय बंक, 2 चट्टोपाध्याय हैं यहाँ पर, चैटर्जी चट्टोपाध्याय एक ही होता है। कौन सा वाला? बंकिम चंद्र चट्टोपाध्याय। पाथर देवी, शरद चंद्र चट्टोपाध्याय। एंड भारत दुर्दशा, भारतेंदु हरीशचंद्र। तो मैच कर लो, A3 B2 सॉरी B3 A3 B1 C2 3 1 2 4। आंसर इज डी। 4 अध्याय, कभी फुर्सत मिलेगी तो पढ़ना। How many of the pairs are correctly matched? Philosophy of the bomb, भगत सिंह। Yes or no? No, किसका है ये? Not अजीत सिंह also, मतलब भतीजे का नहीं तो चाचा का बता दिया। It was भगवती चरण वोरा, ठीक है। The Indian struggle, सुभाष चंद्र बोस। This is correct, ये इनकी खुद की ऑटोबायोग्राफी है, right? Problems of the East, Lord Curzon। This is also correct. These are Curzon's views on geopolitics। किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में लिखा था ये? The emerging conflict between the Russian Empire and the British Indian Empire। कहां पर? NWFP अफगानिस्तान में, ठीक है। तो दिस इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट। बंदी जीवन बाय सचिन सान्याल, दिस इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट। एंड इंडिया विंस फ्रीडम बाय मौलाना आजाद, this is also correct। published shortly after independence while he was minister for culture, he has criticized in this book, matlab this is a general survey of how India attained freedom, what were the things that he was happy with and what he thought would be the impact of the partition of India and future of Pakistan क्या होने वाला है। इन्होंने काफी prophetic इसमें analysis दिया है। तो whatever he said ना, that is actually happening also। बांग्लादेश टूट करके अलग हो गया, पाकिस्तान टूटने वाला है, those things are happening also। यहाँ पे he has also criticized some of the developments following the arrival of the cabinet mission plan and the acceptance of the cabinet mission plan by Mountbatten plan by Nehru and Gandhi, Nehru, Patel and Gandhi। तो वो उन्होंने क्रिटिसाइज किया है, कुछ कुछ उसमें क्रिटिसिज्म भी किया हुआ है। तो 4 आर करेक्ट, 1 इज इनकरेक्ट। करेक्ट आंसर इज ऑल 4। ये हो गए जर्नलिज्म एंड लिटरेचर से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस। नेक्स्ट we come to the theme of politics of association till 1885 and Congress formation, यानी कि प्री कांग्रेस पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज एंड कांग्रेस, एंड इस दौरान what were the activities going on by the British, that we have to cover। 243 which of the following statements are true in the context of growth of Indian nationalism? A, Indian nationalism was a reaction to colonial policies, yes। B, Indian nationalism was strengthened by colonial policies, yes। C, Indian nationalism was always present among Indians but exposure to modern thought helped in materializing it। Incorrect। So nationalism is considered by and large to be a modern phenomenon, so it could not have been always present। So and D is both A and B are correct। Answer is D। Next question, which of the following submitted in 1875 a petition to the House of Commons demanding India's direct representation in the British Parliament? It was the पूना सार्वजनिक सभा। तो यहाँ पे सबसे important कौन थे? MG रानाडे, जस्टिस रानाडे, ठीक है। Next, who attended the Delhi Darbar in 1877 dressed in khadi in support of Swadeshi industries? G.V. Joshi, S.H. Chiplunkar, K.T. Telang or Mahatma Phule? It was G.V. Joshi who did this. Next, with reference to political developments in the later half of the 19th century, consider the following statements. It protested against the reduction of age limit in the Indian Civil Service examination. It organized campaigns against the Arms Act and Vernacular Press Act. It kept its membership fee low to attract more people. Which organization are we talking about? Indian National Congress, Indian Association, East India Association और British Indian Association. अब ये सारे जो एक्ट्स हो रहे हैं, when were they taking place? 1878. So could it have been the Congress? No, because by the time Congress was there, Congress was created, they had already been repealed. Could it have been the East India Association? No, that was operating in London, and that was also the organization of a moderate leader, not a radical one. अब ये जो भी कर रहा होगा, they would be more radical in nature. अच्छा, इंडियन ईस्ट इंडिया एसोसिएशन था किसका? दादा भाई नारोजी का. ठीक है. ब्रिटिश इंडियन एसोसिएशन, this was also known as the Landholder Society or Zamindari Association. So would they be concerned about these issues? No. Plus by this point of time it was already defunct. The British Indian Association was already defunct. बचता क्या है आंसर? Indian Association, better known as the Indian Association of Calcutta, established in 1876 by whom? Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose. So answer is B. Next statement, next question. Consider the following pairs. Radha Kandev, first president of the British Indian Association. Correct and correct? Correct. So Landholder Society or Zamindari Association, also known as the British Indian Association, was created to represent the interest of the zamindars by primarily two individuals. Kon? Radha Kandev and कौन? द्वारकानाथ टैगोर. ठीक है. तो फादर ऑफ देवेंद्रनाथ टैगोर. तो द्वारकानाथ टैगोर and Radha Kandev, they had founded the British Indian Association, and Radha Kandev served as its first president. Gazulu Lakshmanarisu GL Chetty, ठीक है, founder of the Madras Mahajan Sabha. Correct or incorrect? Incorrect. GL Chetty did found the first regional political organization in Madras, but it was not the Madras Mahajan Sabha. By the time the Madras Mahajan Sabha was created in 1884, GL Chetty had been dead for about 15 years or so. ठीक है, it could not have been. तो इन्होंने कौन सा organization सेटअप किया था मद्रास में? The Madras Native Association of 1852. And Surendranath Banerjee, founder of the Indian Association. This is correct. Which of these are correctly matched? 1 and 3 only. मद्रास महाजन सभा, पी आनंद चारुलू, एम वीर राघवाचार्य. 3 नाम है उसमें. एम वीर राघवाचार्य, पी आनंद चारुलू एंड तीसरा वाला आप लोग खुद देखो. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, इल्बर्ट बिल कंट्रोवर्सी वाज रिलेटेड टू imposition of certain restrictions to carry arms by Indians. No. वो कौन सा एक्ट था? Arms Act. Imposition of restrictions on newspapers and magazines published in Indian languages. Vernacular Press Act. Removal of disqualifications imposed on Indian magistrates with regard to the trial of Europeans. This is correct. Correct answer is C. 249, with reference to colonial rule in India, what was sought by the Ilbert Bill? To bring Indians and Europeans at par as far as criminal jurisdiction of the courts was concerned. This is correct. Next, Number 250. Which of the following events took place during the tenure of Lord Lytton as Governor General? Ilbert Bill controversy, Ripon, proclaiming Queen Elizabeth as the Empress of India or Kaisar Hind? Yes, 1877 में. Reduction in the upper age limit for the ICS examination from 21 to 19? Also yes. So correct answer A, 2 and 3. Who of the following was or were economic critic or critiques of colonialism in India? Dadabhai Naroji, G. Subramania Iyer and R.C. Dutt. Answer is all. D. Arrange the following in the correct chronological sequence. Macaulay Minutes, Ilbert Bill controversy, Vernacular Press Act, Grand Darbar in which Queen Victoria was adorned with the title Kaisar Hind. ये कब हुआ? 35. Ilbert Bill controversy, Vernacular Press Act and Delhi Darbar. Correct chronological order 83, not 33. 1, 4, 3, 2. Answer is C. Agla question 253. What was or were the basic aim behind the formation of the Congress? To promote and consolidate the feelings of national unity. Yes or no? Yes. To criticize the colonial economy. Yes. To train and organize public opinions in the country. Yes. To prepare the ground for Indianization of civil service. So when we say that Indianization of the civil service, तो यहाँ पे idea क्या होगा? Inclusion of more Indians or the replacement of all British officials with Indians? Inclusion of more Indians in the civil services. ठीक है? So this is also correct. So answer is D, all of the above. The first Congress session of 1885 was attended by 72 delegates. Who among the following was not one of them? सुरेंद्रनाथ बैनर्जी. Why? वो अपना नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस चला रहे थे उस समय. ठीक है, तो आंसर इज बी. नेक्स्ट 255. Which of the following statements is or are incorrect? George Yule was the second European person who headed the Indian National Congress in 1888. Yes or no? Incorrect. He was the first European. A.O. Hume was never president, na? He was simply founder of the Congress. Dadabhai Naroji was the second Indian who presided over the Indian National Congress in 1887. Incorrect. While he was the second, it was not in 1887, it was in 1886. Badruddin Tayyib became the first Muslim president of the Congress in 1886. Incorrect. It should be 87. तो फर्स्ट फोर कौन कौन थे? बैनर्जी, नारोजी, तैयब जी एंड यूल. ठीक है, जॉर्ज यूल. राइट. कहाँ कहाँ पे हुए ये सेशंस? बॉम्बे, कैलकाटा, मद्रास, इलाहाबाद. क्लियर है? तो which of these are incorrect? 1 and 2 are incorrect. Sorry, all are incorrect. 256. Which of the following statements is or are correct about the Indian Social Conference? It was founded by M.G. Ranade and Raghunath Rao. Yes, it was established in Bombay in 1887. सेशन कहाँ पे चल रहा था? मद्रास में. So this is incorrect. It was a subsidiary organization of the Congress. Yes, sister organization था, उससे associated था. This is correct. So the answer is B, 1 and 3. Number 257. With reference to political developments in the later half of the 19th century, consider the following statements. Number 1, it protested against ये तो repeat हो गया ना? All right, ये repeat हो गया. Next, question 258. Arrange the following organizations in the chronological sequence of their formation. Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, British Indian Association, Landholders Society, Indian Association and Indian National Congress. Answer is B. Congress was the last one. There is only one option with 5 at the end. Answer is B. 259. Consider the following statements. The first woman president of the Congress was Sarojini Naidu. No. कौन था? Annie Besant. The first Muslim president of the Congress was Badruddin Tayebji. Yes. So how many are? Which of these are correct? 2 only. Number 260. In 1890, nationalist leaders had decided to hold a Congress session in London in 1892, but could not do it. Why? Elections होने वाले थे वहां पर. कौन सा election? कौन सा है? C. Britain had scheduled its elections in 1891. And 261. What was the purpose with which Sir William Wedderburn and W.S. Kane had set up the Indian Parliamentary Committee in 1893? So William Wedderburn and W.S. Kane both were retired British civil servants who had assisted A.O. Hume in creating the Congress. Following this, they had also, one of them, William Wedderburn, had also been later elected as Congress president in 2 of the sessions, I think. Okay? And they had both gone back to Britain, and in 1893 they had established the Indian Parliamentary Committee. Where? In London, specifically in Westminster, specifically within the House of Commons. They were both elected MPs. Okay? And within the House of Commons, what was the purpose of this Indian Parliamentary Committee? To agitate for Indian political reforms in the House of Commons, to campaign for entry of Indians into the imperial judiciary, to facilitate a discussion on India's independence in the British Parliament, or to agitate for the entry of eminent Indians in the British Parliament. Answer is A. To agitate for Indian political reforms in the House of Commons. Next, we come to the national movement proper, moderates, extremists and Swadeshi movement. Question 262. What was the main objective of the Welby Commission set up by the British in 1895? Welby Commission का नाम क्या था? Welby Commission on Indian Expenditure. ठीक है? तो answer is D. To inquire into Indian expenditure and make recommendations for any changes that could be made in how the taxpayers' money in India was being spent by the government. This was in response to the moderate demand to do what? What type of budgetary changes did they want? Did they want an increase in administrative expenditure or a decline in administrative? Reduction of administrative infrastructure expenditure. They also wanted reduction of military expenditure. They also wanted an increase in welfare expenditure and social sector spending. Okay? So to study this feasibility, the Welby Commission had been established. 263. Which of the following statements is or are correct about the moderate leaders? They believed in constitutionalism. Yes. They believed in the power of the masses. No. So this is incorrect. What was their attitude towards the masses? They are unprepared for democratic politics. They now need to be prepared first. Okay? And they supported the legislation enacted in favor of peasants and laborers. Yes, this is correct. So while they themselves came from elite middle class, upper middle class background, they did raise the issues of peasants and laborers. So which of these are correct? 1 and 3. 264. Who among the following gave a systematic critique of moderate politics in the Indian National Congress in a series of articles entitled New Lamps for the Old? Answer is Arvind Ghosh. A. 265. Which one of the following defines extremist ideology during the early phase of Indian freedom struggle? stimulating the production of indigenous articles by giving them preference over imported commodities, obtaining self-government by aggressive means in place of petitions and constitutional ways, providing national education according to the requirements of the country, and organizing coups against the British Empire through military action. एक्सट्रीमिस्ट की बात कर रहे हैं, नॉट अबाउट द रेवोल्यूशनरीज. तो ये तो नहीं हो सकता बिकॉज दे डिड नॉट एस्पाउज वायलेंस. इफ द क्वेश्चन हैज टू बी, इट वुड बी ए, बी और सी. तो इसमें से सबसे अप्रोप्रिएट कौन सा लग रहा है? बी, obtaining self-government by aggressive means in place of petitions and constitutional ways. These were the methods used by the moderates. Extremists were against it. They wanted to attain self-government or Swaraj. That was their political objective, and they did not want to commit themselves to the use of constitutional means. Rather, they wanted to pressurize the British to give them Swaraj through mass action, passive resistance. So, aggressive means. So, correct answer would be B. Question 266. The Congress is tottering to its fall, and one of my great ambitions while in India is to assist it to a peaceful demise. Curzon ने लिखा. Next question 267. What were the causes behind the rise of extremism? The success of the moderate phase, defeat of Russia by Japan in 1904-05, partition of Bengal, and social religious movements gave a sense of self-confidence. The answer should be 2, 3, 4. 1 is incorrect. It was the failure of the moderates which pushed the younger generation of leaders towards extremism. 268. In the context of the freedom struggle of India, which of the following statements correctly describe the characteristics of extremist leaders? Number 1, they had deep faith in the capacity of the masses. Yes. They declared Swaraj as the goal of the national movement. They were inspired by India's glorious past. Correct answer? D. 1, 2 and 3. Question 269. Which of the following characteristics were associated with extremists? National education, boycott, petitions and passive resistance. 1, 2 and 4. Petitions associated with moderates. Correct answer? C. Who gave the theory of passive resistance? विपिन चंद्रपाल, अरविंद घोष, बाल गंगाधर तिलक और दादाभाई नौरोजी. कौन सा नहीं होगा? दादाभाई नौरोजी. He would not argue for passive resistance. So it would be either A, B or C. Arvind Ghosh. He was the first one to theorize passive resistance, how it should be carried out, what should be the objective, and he also tried to justify it. In which book? New Lamps for the Old. It was a series of essays later compiled into a book. Number 271. Promoting Swadeshi was an important instrument used by extremist leaders during the freedom struggle of India. Which of the following is a reason for the adoption of this methodology in the freedom struggle? Number 1, it injured British interests. Yes, specifically which interests? Economic interests. Number 2, it could address the problem of unemployment among the Indian youth. Yes, so it would have a constructive impact as well. And number 3, it could aid in setting up a liberal fund to the Congress to strengthen it. So fundraising was not the objective behind Swadeshi. Rather, it was providing a Swadeshi alternative. Swadeshi was a symbol of self-reliance, right? So it was the basis on which the demand of Swaraj could be justified both symbolically, and British rule could be challenged economically, while Indian youth could be provided with gainful employment. So correct answer is A, 1 and 2. In the context of protests against the partition of Bengal, arrange the following events in the correct chronological order. Passage of boycott resolution in Calcutta Town Hall. कब होता है ये? सब 1905-06 में हो रहे हैं, ठीक है. The declaration of Swaraj as the political goal of the Congress. December of which Congress session? When those 4 famous resolutions were adopted under the presidency of Dada Bhai Naroji. Swaraj, Swadeshi, boycott and national education, organized in Calcutta after the Banaras session, before the Surat session, 1906. Formal enforcement or Bengal proclamation. Announcement of Curzon's plan of territorial redistribution. 1905 ही है, लेकिन अनाउंस कब हुआ था पार्टीशन? 7th of July 1905. 7th है या 15th है, एक बार देखना पड़ेगा. 5th है, आई थिंक 5th of July है. 5/7/1905. 5th of July 1905. ठीक है. तो करेक्ट क्रोनोलॉजिकल ऑर्डर 1, 3, 2. Arrange the following events in the chronological order in ascending manner: Calcutta University Act, Punjab Land Alienation Act, Bengal Tenancy Act, Calcutta Corporation Act. Calcutta University Act based on the recommendations of the Raleigh Commission. ठीक है. Raleigh Commission 1902. Act came in 1904. Punjab Land Alienation Act enacted in 1900. Calcutta Corporation Act 1899. ये तीनों कर्जन के जमाने के थे. ठीक है. The other one, Bengal Tenancy Act 1885. Who was Governor General? 85 में डफरिन. ठीक है. तो करेक्ट क्रोनोलॉजिकल ऑर्डर 3, 4, 2, 1. 3, 4, 2, 1. C. अगला सवाल 274. During the Swadeshi movement, a national college was started in Calcutta under the principalship of Arvind Ghosh. A similar national college would be set up, Bengal National College, during the non-cooperation movement. Who would be appointed as principal? वो भी एक resigned civil servant थे, बोस. ठीक है. तो दोनों आईसीएस से रिजाइन करके आए, कम से कम प्रिंसिपल तो बना दिया गया. इस तरह से याद रख सकते हो. नेक्स्ट, National Education Council was established in 1906 to promote literary, scientific and technical education. This council was founded by Bipin Chandra Pal, Aurobindo Ghosh, Satish Chandra Mukherjee और सुभाष चंद्र बोस. Answer is Satish Chandra Mukherjee. Roughly 10 years before this, he had also proposed a scheme for national education, so including literary, scientific and vocational education with emphasis on cultural rejuvenation and promotion of nationalism with the idea of national service. So that is why he was considered to be the most appropriate person to lead the National Council of Education. तो इन्होंने इसको establish किया, lead भी किया. ठीक है. It is Satish Chandra Mukherjee. Number 276. Which one of the following movements has contributed to a split in the Indian National Congress resulting in the emergence of moderates and extremists? Swadeshi movement. Number 277. In the context of the freedom struggle, 16th October 1905 is well known for क्या? Partition of Bengal took effect. B. Who was Governor General? Was not the Governor General. Canning तो कब था यार? Minto the second had arrived as the new Governor General. So Curzon had made the announcement that Bengal is going to be partitioned. Following that, he had left before it could be implemented. Minto arrived, he was the one who enforced it. Answer is B. Next, Indian Muslims in general were not attracted to the extremist movement because of A. Influence of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, B. Anti-Muslim attitude of extremist leaders, C. Indifference shown to Muslim aspirations, or D. Extremist policy of harping on the Hindu past. D. Extremist policy of harping on Hindu past. Leaders such as Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpat Rai, or Aurobindo Ghosh, they invoked religious and cultural symbols associated with Hindu culture in order to mobilize the masses. So their nationalism was a very Hindu type of nationalism. So Muslims felt alienated, therefore they did not respond in large numbers. 279. What was the immediate cause for the launch of the Swadeshi movement? Swadeshi movement, also known as the anti-partition movement. So answer क्या होगा? A. The partition of Bengal done by Lord Curzon. The Swadeshi and boycott were adopted as methods of struggle for the first time during which movement? The agitation against the partition of Bengal. A. Number 281. 7th August is declared as National Handloom Day. It is true. मतलब लास्ट गवर्नमेंट में ही हुआ था, मतलब बीजेपी की जो सेकंड, मतलब मोदी का जो सेकंड टर्म था उसमें आई थिंक 2019 या 20 में शायद हुआ है. Statement 2. It was in 1905 that the Swadeshi movement was launched on the same day. This is also correct. It was launched officially through a resolution of the extremist leaders taken place during a historic meeting at the Calcutta Town Hall on the 7th of August. तो Calcutta Town Hall meeting में officially launch हुआ था and उसको commemorate करने के लिए इसको National Handloom Day बोल दिया गया है. So what is the correct answer over here? A. Both statements are correct and statement 2 is the correct explanation for statement 1. 282. With reference to Swadeshi movement, consider the following statements. Number 1. It contributed to the revival of indigenous artisan crafts and industries. Yes. Number 2. The National Council of Education was established as part of the Swadeshi movement. Yes. So correct answer, both 1 and 2. 283. With reference to the period of extremist national movement in India with its spirit of Swadeshi, which one of the following statements is not correct? Liaquat Hussain led the Muslim peasants of Bengal of Barisal in their agitation. In 1889, the scheme of national education was formed by Satish Chandra Mukherjee. In the Bengal National College was founded in 1906 with Aurobindo as principal. Or Tagore preached the cult of Atma Shakti, the main plank of which was the social and economic regeneration of the villages, which is not correct. Answer is A. A is incorrect. Now, in general, what was the response of the peasantry to the Swadeshi movement? Did they participate in large numbers? No. And what was the general response of Muslims to the Swadeshi movement? Did they participate in large numbers? No. So, the agitation in Barisal led by the Muslim peasantry was an exceptional case of the Swadeshi movement, and that was because of the work among the Muslim peasants done to promote the idea of Swadeshi and Swaraj, not by Liaquat Hussain but by Khan Bahadur, Hasim Ali Khan. That is why first statement is incorrect. The song Amar Sonar Bangla, who wrote it? Rabindranath Tagore. Next, 285. With reference to the book Desher Kathar, written by Sakharam Ganesh Deuskar during the freedom struggle, consider the following statements. Number 1, it warned against the colonial states' hypnotic conquest of the mind. Yes or no? Yes, so this was the main theme. It was meant as a warning to the readers to be aware of the hypnotic quality of the colonial state. That on the surface it is going to look very attractive, but it is like a beautiful vampire. दिखने में बहुत खूबसूरत but deadly, right? It inspired the performance of Swadeshi street plays and folk songs. Also correct. And the use of Desh by Dioskar was in the specific context of the region of Bengal. He was talking about the whole of India when he used the word Desh, not Bengal. This is incorrect. So which of these statements is correct? A. Only 1 and 2. Next question. 286. The partition of Bengal made by Lord Curzon in 1905 lasted until 1911, when King George V abrogated it during the Delhi Darbar of 1911. Who was the Governor General of India when the Delhi Darbar of 1911 took place? मिंटो का टेन्योर था 1905 से 10 तक. इसके बाद कौन आया जिसके ऊपर बम फेंका गया था? मैं बताया था कि केवल एक ही को सक्सेसफुली मार पाए थे, बाकी सब बच गए थे. बम फेंका तो बच गया था. मेरे को तो बताया ना, खंजर से मारा था किसी कैदी ने. इस पे बम फेंका गया है. राज बिहारी बोस एंड सचिन सान्याल ने फेंका था 1912. हार्डिंज, ठीक है, तो दैट वाज हार्डिंज. अच्छा, तो व्हेन जॉर्ज V abrogated and annulled the partition of Bengal, what happened to the state of East Bengal and Assam? ईस्ट बंगाल और असम का क्या हुआ? असम को अलग कर दिया और बांग्ला स्पीकिंग रीजन्स ऑफ ईस्ट बंगाल एंड असम वर मर्ज्ड विद द बांग्ला स्पीकिंग रीजन्स ऑफ बंगाल. ठीक है, अब जो बंगाल के बांग्ला नॉन बांग्ला स्पीकिंग रीजन्स थे टुवर्ड्स द वेस्ट, बिहार, ओडिशा एटसेट्रा, they were separated. So a separate province of Bihar was also established in 1911. Is that clear? Separate Bihar province created in 1911. Capital of Bihar? Patna. ठीक है, अच्छा. Now the annulment of partition, was it welcomed by all political parties or was there one particular political party that was very angry? Muslim League. And Muslims in general felt aggrieved and felt that the British had betrayed them. How did the British try to compensate the Muslim aspirations? तो separate electorates तो already दे चुके थे 1909 में. Once again some territory related decision is going to take place. Till now what was the imperial capital of the British Empire in India? Calcutta. ठीक है, कैलकाटा से एक नया कैपिटल बनाया जाएगा, कौन सा? दिल्ली. तो दिल्ली वुड बी द न्यू इंपीरियल कैपिटल ऑफ द ब्रिटिश एम्पायर इन इंडिया. तो ये चेंजेस होते हैं दिल्ली दरबार के संदर्भ में. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन 287. Who among the following rejected the title of knighthood and refused to accept a position in the Council of the Secretary of State for India? मोतीलाल नेहरू, M.G. रानाडे, गोपाल कृष्ण गोखले और बाल गंगाधर तिलक. मोतीलाल नेहरू को कभी ऑफर ही नहीं किया गया था. ठीक है, तो मोतीलाल नेहरू, अच्छा, इस तरह का जो ऑफर है ये which type of politician do you think would be given? मॉडरेट को मिलेगा. तो कैन यू एलिमिनेट सम ऑप्शंस? ए और डी एलिमिनेट हो गए, बचे कौन? एमजी रानाडे एंड गोखले. नाउ व्हेन वुड द ब्रिटिश give such honors, titles or privileges? When they want something. So would they offer these titles to Indians when they were in a position of weakness or strength? Weakness. कुछ cajoling करना होगा, कुछ conciliation करना होगा, a type of bribe would have to be given. So what do you think was the context when the British for the first time felt pressure from Indians? स्वदेशी मूवमेंट, तो स्वदेशी मूवमेंट के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में ये दिया गया है। तो बताओ कौन से लीडर को दिया गया होगा? गोखले को दिया गया था। गोखले had traveled to meet Morley, the Secretary of State, in 1906. He had come back to India with assurances that if moderates were to isolate themselves from the extremists, then the constitutional reforms of the type they want, they are going to be introduced very soon by the British. The British had also tried to offer him a private bribe, but Gokhale had rejected that. Okay? So answer is C. Gopal Krishna Gokhale. 288. 4 resolutions were passed at the famous Calcutta session of the Congress in 1906. The question of either retention or rejection of these 4 resolutions became a cause for the split at the next Congress session held in Surat in 1907. कहानी इतनी पूरी बता दी है। क्वेश्चन क्या पूछा है? Which was not one of those 4 resolutions? क्या कौन सा वाला होगा इसमें? Annulment of Partition of Bengal. ठीक है? Did both the moderates and extremists agree on the question of annulment of partition or not? या उसके ऊपर भी मतभेद था? वहां पे agreement था, तो both were agreed. Disagreement was with regards to 4 resolutions: boycott, national education, Swadeshi, and the objective of Swaraj. The 4th resolution was Swaraj. Next question, 289. What was the main reason for the split in the Congress in the Surat in 1907? A. Introduction of communalism into Indian politics by Minto. B. Extremist lack of faith in the capacity of the moderates to negotiate with the British government. C. Foundation of the Muslim League. Or D. Aurobindo Ghosh's inability to be elected as president of Congress. B. Extremist lack of faith in the capacity of the moderates to negotiate with the British government. So moderates had a chance for about 20 years before this. They had not given any success. Therefore, extremists and moderates were now not seeing eye to eye. Extremists wanted to pressurize the moderates. Moderates wanted to conciliate the British, petition the British. The two did not agree upon the strategy. So that was the reason. Okay. Number 290. Assertion: Partition of Bengal in 1905 brought to an end the moderates' role in the Indian freedom movement. Correct or incorrect? Incorrect. So role of moderates is going to decline, but ऐसा नहीं है, it is going to be eliminated. They are going to play a role. In fact, they are going to play a very important role during the home rule movement. ठीक है? They are also going to be instrumental in bringing about the Lucknow Pact between Congress and Muslim League. They are also going to play their role in re-entry of extremists into the Congress. ठीक है? तो assertion is incorrect. तो correct answer क्या होगा? D. A is false but R is true. R. The Surat session of the Congress separated extremists from the moderates. This is correct. Now, तो ये हो गया moderates, extremists and revolutionaries. And Swadeshi. Next we have the revolutionary movement till 1919. Who among the following had organized in 1904 a secret society of revolutionaries named Abhinav Bharat? Abhinav Bharat, it had emerged from another secret society named Mitra Mela. Mitra Mela had been organized as a secret society of revolutionaries in 1899 by वीडी सावरकर एंड जीडी सावरकर. ठीक है, उसी को 1904 में रीनेम कर दिया गया एज अभिनव भारत. आंसर इज डी, वीडी सावरकर. The Bara Daketi was the first major venture of revolutionary terrorists in the freedom movement in which of these regions? Bombay, Karnataka, Punjab, East Bengal और मद्रास. बारिसाल कहाँ पे है? बंगाल, बांग्लादेश में. तो ईस्ट बंगाल में. Who had given effect to the Bara Daketi? Revolutionaries led by Pulindas. They would also be activated during the Barisal conspiracy. ठीक है? Pulindas was leader of which wing of the Anushilan Samiti? The Dhaka wing. So he was the head of the Dhaka Anushilan Samiti. Anushilan Samiti was associated with the publication of which revolutionary journal? Yugantar. So Yugantar was an inner circle within the Anushilan Samiti which was publishing that journal, and uska jo Yugantar wala group tha na, that actually espoused the revolutionary ideology. तो कैलकटा रेवोल्यूशनरीज और ढाका रेवोल्यूशनरीज के बीच में जो कॉमन लिंक था दैट वाज द युगांतर जर्नल. 293. Which of the following statements is or are correct about the Alipur case? Number 1, it was a trial against bomb conspiracy. Yes. कौन सा बम? Which had been flung by Khudiram Bose and Praful Kumar Chaki over on a buggy whom they believed to be carrying Kingsford, ठीक है, the sadistic judge of Muzaffarpur. Accidentally they ended up killing two English ladies, right? Khudiram Bose was hanged. Praful Kumar Chaki shot himself to death. Now, Praful Kumar Chaki, जब investigation चला, तो it was found that the bomb they had acquired was manufactured in Calcutta. Second statement, Hemchandra Kanungo founded a bomb factory in Maniktal in Calcutta. This is also correct. Hemchandra Kanungo, associated with the Yugantar group, had travelled abroad to receive military training. He had gone to countries such as Germany and Italy, and वहाँ से क्या सीख के आए थे? बम कैसे बनाना है. तो he had gotten expertise in bomb making. Bipin Chandra Pal was also involved in it. No. Which famous nationalist leader may have been involved in it? Aurobindo Ghosh. Now, Aurobindo Ghosh was also tried in the Alipur bomb conspiracy case, but was found not guilty. So there was not sufficient evidence linking him. His younger brother, however, that is Barendra Kumar Ghosh, was transported for life. And following this, Aurobindo Ghosh retired from active politics. So correct answer क्या होगा इसमें? C, 1 and 2. Number 294. Consider the following statements. Mitra Mela was a home rule group organized by followers of Bal Gangadhar Tilak. No, it was a revolutionary group organized by followers of Savarkar. Sandhya in Maharashtra and Kal in Bengal were newspapers that advocated for revolutionary nationalism. उल्टा होना चाहिए था, right? Has been swapped. Anushilan Samiti was a revolutionary group active in Dhaka. यश अनुशीलन समिति ऑफ ढाका. वैसे अनुशीलन समिति एक और है, दैट इज द मदर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अनुशीलन समिति which had branches in both Dhaka as well as Calcutta. While the branch in Dhaka was known for revolutionary activity, the branch in Calcutta was acting as the open wing for Yugantar revolutionaries. ठीक है, लेकिन सेम अगर ये स्टेटमेंट आता है it should be considered correct. So which of these are correct? B, 3 only. Next, number 295. With reference to the characteristics of the first phase of revolutionary movement, consider the following statements. Number 1. Assassination of unpopular officials based on individual heroic actions, strong mass support, publication and propagation of revolutionary literature, and very clear ideology about national struggle. So, which of these are correct characteristics of early phase of revolutionary activism? So, first one, yes, yes. Give me an example. Anand Lakshman Kanhare shot dead Jackson, the district collector of Nasik. Curzon Willie, a member of the India Council, was killed in London by Udham Singh. ठीक है, तो इस तरह से based on individual heroic action. Yes, तो ये इंडिविजुअल डकैतीज और असैसिनेशंस करते थे, बॉम्ब्स मारते थे लोगों पर. Did they enjoy strong mass support? No. Why? because use of violence would never be able to attract masses in large numbers. So they could not rely on strong mass support. Active support नहीं मिल सकता है, passive sympathy जरूर मिल सकती है. Right? Publication and propagation of revolutionary literature. Yes, example. Yugantar, Sandhya, Kal, Gadar, etc. They had very clear ideology about the national struggle. No. So one of the weaknesses of revolutionaries during this phase was that they were not able to understand that the suffering that Indians are facing is not because of the activities of individual officials who are exploiting Indians directly. Rather, it is because of the exploitative nature of the colonial system. So even though they assassinate an unpopular official, he would be replaced by another official. And even though that official may have a softer attitude towards Indians, his tenure in that place would result in the continued exploitation of Indians. So ये idea that ये जो officials थे, they were simply removable cogs in a large machine, this may not have been very clear to them, right? So correct answer 1, 2 and 4 B. 296. Which of the following statements is or are correct with reference to the first provisional government of India? Number 1. The first provisional Indian government was formed in Kabul by Mahendra Pratap and Barkatullah. This is correct. This happened during the First World War. ठीक है? It received passive support from Prince Amanullah of Kabul as well. However, under British pressure, Prince Amanullah was finally forced to withdraw his support and Mahendra Pratap and Barkatullah had to leave from here. Second, this government was backed by Germany and Russia. अब देखो फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर चल रहा है, you know कि who was fighting on whose side? So would both powers be backing them? No or yes? Were Germany and Russia fighting for the same side or on different sides? On different sides. तो ये स्टेटमेंट सही होगा गलत होगा? लेकिन सही है. ठीक है? कैसे? 1917 में क्या होता है? Bolshevik revolution. Russia withdraws from the war. Germany was already supporting the RGU मतलब Mahendra Pratap and Barkatullah, and now the USSR also gives its support. So specifically, one of the prominent leaders of Russia, Trotsky, was approached by Mahendra Pratap Singh, and he pledges his support to the independent government of India. This is करेक्ट है. तो इट में अपीयर टू बी इनकरेक्ट लेकिन फिर भी करेक्ट है. तो कहीं कहीं पे लॉजिक भी फेल हो जाता है, राइट? तो करेक्ट आंसर सी, बोथ 1 and 2. 297. Where were the Gadar revolutionaries who became active during the outbreak of the war based? North America. The Gadar was what? A revolutionary association of Indians with its headquarters at San Francisco. 299. Who was the leader of the Gadar party? लाला हरदयाल. इसके अलावा और कोई नाम पता है? रिमेंबर दैट बरकतुल्ला थे, उबैदुल्ला सिंधी थे, देन वी हैड सोहन सिंह बखना एज वेल, राजा महेंद्र प्रताप आल्सो, राइट? कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग फ्रीडम फाइटर्स: बरिंद्र कुमार घोष, जोगेश चंद्र चैटर्जी एंड राज बिहारी घोष. Who among the above was or were actively associated with the Gadar party? तो बरिंद्र कुमार घोष होंगे? नहीं, he had already been transported for life by the time that the Gadar party came into existence. Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee, he was a scientist, right? So there was no question. Raj Bihari Bose, yes, so he was the one who played an active role along with another leader during the Gadar conspiracy. कौन? Sachin Sanyal. The correct answer is 3 or D, 3 only. India House was founded by श्यामजी कृष्ण वर्मा। कहां पर? लंदन में। Zimmerman plan was related to which of the following? Partition plan for India, British strategy to curb revolutions, all India insurrection, plan to overthrow British power, or constitutional reforms in India. See, all India insurrection to overthrow British power. This Zimmerman plan was formulated by the German foreign ministry and the Berlin Committee of the India House led by, नहीं तो बर्लिन में कौन ज्यादा एक्टिव लीडर थे? नॉट श्यामजी कृष्ण वर्मा, इट वाज वीरेंद्र नाथ चट्टोपाध्याय. What was the plan over here? That with German helps, German arms are going to be landed in Bengal on the coastline. Surreptitiously they are going to be smuggled in at Balasore, and Indian revolutionaries are going to take them. They are going to capture Fort William, and from there announce an all India revolt against the British. In India, who was supposed to receive these arms? Bagh Jatin. ठीक है, तो Jatindranath Mukherjee. British came to know about it. Jatindranath Mukherjee, did he surrender or did he choose to die fighting? Chose to die fighting. Next question. Which of the following pairs is or are correctly matched? Peshawar conspiracy case, communist movement. First Lahore conspiracy, Gadar plan. काकोरी कॉन्स्पिरेसी, ट्रेन रॉबरी. तो इसमें सबसे आसान तो काकोरी वाला है. सही है गलत? सही है. फर्स्ट लाहौर कॉन्स्पिरेसी केस गदर पार्टी से एसोसिएटेड. लाहौर कॉन्स्पिरेसी यूजुअली हम किस में सुनते हैं? सॉन्डर्स मर्डर केस, राइट? तो भगत सिंह में को जिसमें फांसी की सजा सुनाई गई थी. However, before that also na another conspiracy case was done at Lahore, the first Lahore conspiracy case. तो गदर conspiracy के बारे में पता है? That the Gadarites had planned for the outbreak of an all India armed revolt starting from Punjab by inciting soldiers in three important garrisons in Punjab to simultaneously revolt against their British superiors. कहाँ कहाँ पर? फिरोजपुर, रावलपिंडी एंड लाहौर में. तो ये प्लान था लाहौर कॉन्स्पिरेसी का. ये कल भी हमने शायद डिस्कस किया था कि सिंगापुर में भी साइमल्टेनियस अपराइजिंग का प्लान था, वो हुआ यहाँ पे, इट वाज ब्रोकन. तो ये जो गदर प्लान है, दैट इज एक्चुअली द गदर कॉन्स्पिरेसी, फर्स्ट लाहौर कॉन्स्पिरेसी केस. एंड ये पेशावर कॉन्स्पिरेसी केस क्या है? Peshawar had become a huge hub of Indian revolutionaries, right? And Peshawar located very close to Afghanistan. Afghanistan was being used as a buffer state to manage imperial rivalries by both the British as well as the Russians. तो यहाँ पे Russian influence भी quite dominant था. And after 1917 रशिया में कोई तब्दीली आई? It became a communist country. सोवियत यूनियन बन गया, यूएसएसआर हो गया था. एंड ये जो रेवोल्यूशनरीज थे, would they be poor targets for communist brainwash or the best targets for communist brainwash? बेस्ट टारगेट्स के दोनों की आइडियोलॉजी रेवोल्यूशनरी है, राइट? एंड देयरफॉर द रेवोल्यूशनरीज हैड बीन कमिंग अंडर ग्रेटर एंड ग्रेटर कम्युनिस्ट इन्फ्लुएंस एट पेशावर. तो वहां पर भी एक मेजर कम्युनिस्ट प्लॉट प्लान कर रहे थे. बट वंस अगेन जो हर बार होता है वही हुआ, किसी ने गद्दारी कर दी, somebody informed them then and they were all caught. So पेशावर कॉन्स्पिरेसी केस associated with the communist movement. So correct answer, all of the above. And the final question for the day: which of the following are the correct reasons for the decline of revolutionary movement after 1918? Number 1, the lack of popular response. Yes or no? Yes. Number 2, stern government repression along with a series of draconian laws. Yes, so stern government repression and draconian laws such as Defense of India rules, right? And third, release of all political prisoners arrested under the Defense of India Act. True, in 1919, after the end of the war, the government adopted a policy of general amnesty and released all the political prisoners who had been detained under the Defense of India Act. And this also diffused the nationalist anger against the British, and revolutionary activities started to come down. ठीक है, इसके अलावा और कोई रीजन? One new figure had risen in nationalist politics. कौन? Mahatma Gandhi, and the revolutionaries wanted to give an opportunity to his innovative strategy of satyagrah to succeed. So that is why they had decided to cool off for the time being. तो correct answer यहाँ पे क्या है? D, 1, 2 and 3. Clear है? अच्छा. Online students, I hope this is clear for you as well. Thank you, Lucy. चलिए then. Thank you for your time. कल मिलते हैं same time पर.